Start. I should like to make a statement explaining what has happened and leave it to the chair to decide about this adjournment motion. Some weeks ago, government was faced with rather a difficult situation in regard to sugar. As the House is aware, we had de-controlled sugar in 1947 and sugar continued to the distributed without any intervention by government. It was only with regard to the fixation of prices that there used to be informal consultations and discussions between the central government and the governments of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar and the industry, but even these prices were not fixed statutorily because we had decided upon decontrolling sugar. In the month of August of towards the end of July, it became apparent that as the prices of sugar were rising, government would have to take some action. We found that up to the month of June, the consumption of sugar was more or less at a normal rate. It is true that consumption of sugar had increased because during the period of control, many persons who did not otherwise use sugar got accustomed to using sugar as sugar was rationed to all cardholders. Secondly, the price of sugar had also been lowered from rupees 35 to rupees 29. The result was some increase in consumption, but still because there was a carry over of 2 lakh tons from the previous year, it was felt that we would be able to reach the end of the year without any difficulty. As the House is probably aware, production starts somewhere about the middle or third week of November in some places in October and in some other parts of India in December. So, round about the month of July, two factors intervened. First of all, there was a talk of export of sugar to Pakistan and later on possibly also to the United Kingdom. That talk had its reaction on the market. The second factor was that an announcement was made that as a result of the increased consumption up to June and July, a very small quantity of sugar remained with the factories. With about 3 to 4 months still ahead, the stock which was disclosed was definitely inadequate, probably meeting only half the needs. This itself had an effect on the market, and very speculative purchases were made during these days. We therefore begin to discuss this question with all the interests concerned. I had full discussions also with the standing committee of the legislature. Later on, we proposed certain measures and consulted the state governments with regard to those measures. Some of the state governments were against our interfering too much and were definitely against rationing of sugar. On the other hand, one or two state governments wanted that we should ration sugar. Ultimately, we discussed the whole question in the cabinet, first in the economics committee of the cabinet and then in the cabinet, and decided to take certain measures with a view to dealing with the difficult situation. We first of all froze all the stocks in the country. The UP government had frozen the stocks in their state about a week before with a view to conserving stocks and preventing their transfer to trade whom we might not be able to effectively to control. We sealed the stocks both in UP and Bihar and the rest of India. Having sealed the stocks, we fixed the price for sale of the frozen sugar. We had very limited resources at our disposal. Unlike food grains, sugar was not in our physical possession. It was in the factories. A good part of it had already been sold, and the quantity which remained was inadequate for the remaining part of the year. Therefore, we felt it necessary to arm our state governments with complete powers to deal with the local situation. That meant that it was open to them to freeze the stocks with the dealers, wholesale or retail, and also to fix such distributing agencies as they preferred for the purpose of selling sugar at the controlled price to the people. Now, it is inevitable that where government is faced with a situation where a certain commodity is definitely very much in short supply in relation to the demand, it is not possible if government distributes or rations the commodity to give to the people the full quota needed by them. Government had to choose between two alternatives, either to import more sugar to affect the price level and meet any deficit that there might be, or to try and use such supplies of sugar as were at their disposal. Import was not possible because of dollar and other considerations. In 1963, there was a thinking in the government that perhaps the patent law was not necessary and that it should be abrogated. Some of our experts had gone to Russia and they have come back with this thinking. Therefore, this matter was kept suspended. Stop.